Born on February 8, 1972, in Aiken, South Carolina, Paul Wight, who would later become known worldwide as The Big Show, came into this world with a presence that was hard to ignore. Even as a child, Paul was noticeably taller than his peers, a physical trait that would both shape his childhood experiences and foreshadow his future as one of professional wrestling's most iconic giants. Growing up in a family that was supportive yet typical of the American South, young Paul was often encouraged to channel his remarkable size into sports. While he loved many activities, basketball quickly became his primary passion. His height gave him a natural advantage on the court, and he stood out among teammates and competitors alike. But life was not always easy. Being significantly larger than most kids led to both admiration and occasional teasing. It was in these early years that Paul learned to balance humility with his natural physical dominance, a lesson that would prove invaluable later in life. In school, Paul excelled not only in athletics but also in academics. Teachers noted his quiet determination and focused nature. Unlike many children who might rely solely on physical gifts, Paul was disciplined. He practiced relentlessly, pushing himself to perfect his skills. By high school, he had become a standout athlete, attracting the attention of college scouts who saw in him the potential for a professional sports career. Basketball was his first dream, but wrestling, though not immediately, was lurking on the horizon. Paul's towering height, combined with his naturally imposing physique, made him an ideal candidate for a sport that celebrated strength, showmanship, and charisma. Yet, as a young boy and teenager, he was largely focused on conventional sports and fitting in socially. Despite his size, Paul wanted to be seen as just another kid in his school, one who could laugh with friends, struggle with homework, and dream big. Paul's high school years were transformative. Standing at over 6 feet by the time he entered his teen years, he was already catching the attention of college basketball recruiters. But along with athletic promise came challenges. Being so physically different from most peers brought both opportunities and pressures. Teachers sometimes treated him differently, expecting more because of his size. Classmates alternated between admiration and envy. Paul, however, had learned resilience early. He understood that his unique traits could either isolate him or empower him. It was also during these formative years that Paul developed a love for competition beyond the basketball court. Whether it was in formal wrestling matches with friends or testing his strength in local sports events, he discovered that he enjoyed challenges that tested his limits. This spirit of determination and courage would eventually guide him toward professional wrestling, even if the path was not yet clear. After high school, Paul attended Wichita State University, where he played college basketball. Here, he continued to hone not only his athletic abilities but also his work ethic. The discipline required to compete at the collegiate level, combined with his relentless practice habits, laid the foundation for the extraordinary physical and mental endurance that would later define his wrestling career. His college years also exposed him to the broader world, teaching him about teamwork, perseverance, and public performance. By his early 20s, Paul had established a solid reputation as an athlete, but the world of professional basketball did not offer the opportunities he had hoped for. Instead, his path took an unexpected turn toward professional wrestling, a sport that would allow him to combine his physical gifts, competitive spirit, and growing sense of showmanship. It was during this period that he met trainers and scouts who recognized his potential, and Paul began to seriously consider wrestling as a career. Reflecting on his early life, it becomes clear that Paul Wight's journey was shaped by both nature and nurture. His towering height and physical strength were gifts of nature, but his resilience, discipline, and determination were cultivated through years of family support, schooling, and sports. These elements combined to prepare him for the next stage, stepping into the world of professional wrestling, where he would eventually become The Big Show, a name that fans across the globe would come to know and respect. Even before stepping into a wrestling ring, Paul had demonstrated the qualities that would define his career: patience, humility despite his size, and an unrelenting drive to succeed. His early experiences, both the triumphs on the basketball court and the challenges of being different, instilled in him a mindset that he would carry into the high-stakes, theatrical world of WWE. As the young athlete transitioned from college life into adulthood, the stage was set for an extraordinary transformation. From a boy standing out in South Carolina classrooms to a physically dominant college athlete, Paul Wight was already preparing, without realizing it, for the career that would make him an international superstar. The lessons of discipline, perseverance, and self-belief would guide him as he stepped into the wrestling world, ready to embrace his destiny as one of the sport's most memorable giants. In retrospect, Hall's early life is a testament to how natural gifts, when paired with determination and guidance, can shape a remarkable future. The journey from South Carolina child to future wrestling icon was filled with growth, challenges, and preparation, setting the stage for a career that would inspire millions of fans and cement his legacy in professional wrestling history.